Everything begins in the mind. Every form, every condition, every event you experience in this world is nothing more than the outpicturing of an inward assumption. You are not a victim of circumstance, you are the architect of it. The outer world is a mirror, faithfully reflecting the inner movements of your imagination. Whatever you consent to as true in the silence of your mind must, by the law of consciousness, become your visible experience. When I say that I will activate your mind to manifest anything, I am not offering you a trick or a ritual. I am calling you back to the awareness of your divine power. The power to think, to imagine, and to believe. You see, the secret of creation lies in your ability to assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled. To activate your mind is to awaken you from the sleep of doubt and awaken you to the realization that imagination creates reality. The world you see is not separate from you, it is you objectified. Every man and woman you meet, every situation that confronts you, every condition you call real, is only the shadow cast by your inner conversations. If you change those inner conversations, your world must also change. There is no resistance in the outer world that can withstand a reconditioned mind. The outer must bend to the inner, because consciousness is the only reality. When you begin to accept this truth deeply, you stop fighting against the world and start mastering it from within. You stop trying to fix people, events, and circumstances and begin transforming the root, your state of consciousness. The activated mind does not beg, it commands. It does not hope vaguely, it knows clearly. To manifest anything, you must first enter the feeling of already having it. You must dwell in the state of fulfillment so vividly that the mind accepts it as real. This inner acceptance is the seed from which the outer fruit grows. Everything you seek already exists as a potential within you, waiting only for your recognition. To activate your mind means to awaken the creative power of assumption. The mind is always assuming something. It cannot remain neutral. Every moment you are either assuming from lack or from abundance, from fear or from faith, from limitation or from possibility. Your task is to consciously choose what you will assume. When you assume that you are already the person you desire to be, when you feel from that state rather than toward it, you collapse time itself. What you long for begins to draw near, not because you chase it, but because you have become its magnetic center. The law is perfect. Whatever you believe yourself to be, you will express. Most people pray for what they do not believe. They speak words of faith while holding images of doubt. They ask but do not receive because they never enter the state of receiving. The prayer of the awakened mind is not a plea, it is a recognition. You recognize that your desire is already finished in the unseen. You thank before you see, because in consciousness it is already done. The act of gratitude seals the assumption. Gratitude is not merely an emotion. It is evidence that you have already entered the state of fulfillment. When you say, thank you, from the heart, before anything changes, you announce to the universe that you already possess what you desire. And the universe, hearing that vibration, responds in kind. The creative process is not about effort but awareness. You do not manifest by force but by faith. Imagination is not idle fantasy, it is the womb of creation. Every great inventor, artist, and leader has used this law, whether consciously or unconsciously. They saw in imagination what was not yet visible to others. They walked in the reality of their vision until the world was compelled to mirror it back to them. You are no different. The same power that created galaxies beats within your mind. The moment you dare to assume your desire as real, all the forces of creation move to sustain that assumption. You may ask, how can I feel something that I do not yet have? The answer is simple. You must persuade yourself that your desire is already yours. Use the senses of your inner man. Hear the words of congratulations that would be spoken if your desire were fulfilled. See the faces of those who would rejoice with you. Feel the touch. Smell the scent. Hear the sounds. Make it as vivid and alive as you can. The mind cannot distinguish between what is real and what is imagined when you feel it deeply enough. Once the mind accepts the assumption, it produces the outer evidence naturally, effortlessly, and in perfect timing. An activated mind no longer reacts, it creates. It no longer complains, it commands. It no longer waits for life to happen, it happens to life. Every time you imagine something, you are planting a seed. The soil of consciousness is always fertile. It gives back exactly what is sown. If you sow fear, you reap confusion. If you sow confidence, you reap opportunities. If you sow faith, you reap miracles. There is no injustice in this law, only precision. You cannot harvest what you have not imagined. To manifest anything, you must first feel it real within yourself. Feel it until it becomes natural, until the old state of doubt fades like a shadow in light. Activation begins with awareness. You must become aware of what you are thinking, what you are saying to yourself, what you are accepting as true. Your inner dialogue is the workshop of your future. Every word you speak internally is a command to your subconscious mind. When you say, I can't, you instruct the mind to shut down possibility. When you say, I am able, you open doors that did not exist before. The words, I am, are the most powerful creative words you can speak, because whatever follows them becomes your reality. Speak only that which you desire to see, not what you fear. As you begin to practice this, you will notice that reality bends in response. People, places, and events begin to arrange themselves in perfect harmony with your inner state. Coincidences multiply, doors open, and opportunities flow where once there were obstacles. This is not luck, it is law. The world is a faithful servant of imagination. You command it not through struggle, but through state. Once your inner state changes, everything else must follow. The activated mind no longer wonders if it will happen. It knows it is happening now. Never say, "One day I will be rich," or "Someday I will be healed." The word "someday" is a thief. It keeps your desire always in the future. Say instead, "I am wealthy now. I am whole now. I am loved now," and live from that consciousness. The outer world will catch up to your inner declaration. Do not concern yourself with how or when. Those belong to the unseen intelligence that governs all creation. Your part is only to believe, to assume, and to rest in the knowing that your imagination is the creative force of God within you. The moment you accept this truth, you are free. You realize that no one can take from you and nothing can withhold from you what you have already claimed in consciousness. You understand that lack is an illusion born of forgotten power. You stop chasing what you already possess within. You see that the kingdom of heaven, the realm of infinite possibility, is within you. To activate your mind is to remember this truth and live from it daily. You are not here to wish for a better life. You are here to awaken the power that already creates it. Your imagination is the bridge between the invisible and the visible, the unseen and the seen. The moment you align thought, feeling, and belief with your desire, manifestation becomes inevitable. You must understand that your mind is a garden, and whatever thoughts you plant there will eventually blossom in your life. The soil does not care whether you plant weeds or flowers. It simply brings forth what is sown. Likewise, your subconscious mind, the creative aspect of your being, does not judge your assumptions. It accepts them as facts and brings them into manifestation with mathematical precision. If you wish to manifest beauty, peace, wealth, or love, then you must plant those ideas deliberately. Do not wait for someone else to give you permission to believe in yourself. The creative power within you is waiting for your command. Once you awaken to this realization, you no longer live as a passive observer of life, but as a conscious creator of it. Every time you choose to feel lack, to dwell in fear, or to imagine the worst, you are unconsciously activating your mind against yourself. The same power that can create abundance can also create limitation, depending on how it is directed. That is why discipline of the imagination is essential. You must train your mind to remain loyal to your vision, even when appearances contradict it. Appearances are temporary, imagination is eternal. What you see around you now is only the result of previous assumptions. Do not be deceived by the delay between thought and manifestation. Just as a seed takes time to grow into a tree, your assumption requires persistence before it solidifies into form. Patience is not waiting, it is knowing that the invisible is already done. The true test of faith is persistence in the face of evidence to the contrary. When nothing in the outer world shows progress, and yet you continue to assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, that is when your creative power grows strongest. Every time you persist, you deepen the roots of your belief. Eventually, the external must yield to the internal. The key is emotional conviction. You must feel it real. Mere words or affirmations without feeling are hollow, but when you charge them with emotion, they vibrate through every level of consciousness and become irresistible commands to the subconscious. The mind does not respond to empty repetition. It responds to belief charged with feeling. The imagination is not a mere escape from reality. It is the creator of it. The world you see is the outer crust of your inner beliefs. Everything, from the smallest event to the greatest achievement, began as a thought, an image held in consciousness. When you visualize with feeling, you give shape to the unseen. You give life to the invisible idea, and that life must express itself in form. You are the potter, shaping the clay of experience with your thoughts and assumptions. If you do not like what you see, do not curse the clay. Change the image in your mind. The moment you do, the outer must rearrange itself to mirror your new conception. Imagination and faith are twins. One cannot exist without the other. To imagine is to see inwardly. To have faith is to persist in that inward seeing despite outward contradiction. The activated mind does not waver between belief and doubt. It holds to the vision with unwavering certainty. You may not yet see the harvest, but you know that it is coming because you have already planted the seed. You live from the end, not toward it. Living from the end means that you carry the emotional atmosphere of your fulfilled desire now. You think from it, speak from it, act from it, and dwell in it as though it were your reality, because in the unseen dimension it already is. When you assume your desire as real, the subconscious begins to arrange circumstances to match that inner picture. It draws people, opportunities, and events into your path that align with your assumption. You may call it coincidence, but it is the law of consciousness unfolding perfectly. Nothing happens by chance, everything is the expression of a state. You are always manifesting something, even when you think you are not. Every emotion, every expectation, every repeated thought is a seed cast into the soil of the subconscious. The activated mind knows this and therefore guards its inner conversations carefully. It refuses to indulge in thoughts of failure or fear, knowing that such indulgence would only reproduce more of the same. You are the cause of everything you experience. This realization can at first feel heavy because it removes all excuses, but in truth, it is the most liberating knowledge you can ever possess. If you are the cause, then you are also the solution. You need not wait for anyone or anything to change for you to be free. You can begin now in this very moment to think differently, to feel differently, to assume differently. And as you do, you alter the future. The past has no power except what you continue to give it in imagination. Every time you replay old hurts or failures, you recreate them. Every time you imagine success, joy, and abundance, you bring them nearer to you. Life is always listening to your inner dialogue. You do not have to fight to make your dream come true. You need only to rest in the awareness that it already is. Resting in the assumption is not laziness, it is confidence in the law. You no longer strive because you have already accepted that the work is done in consciousness. From that place of assurance, your actions become inspired, not forced. Ideas come effortlessly, people appear at the right time, and everything flows naturally. This is the beauty of living from an activated mind. It moves with divine ease because it knows that all creation is finished. Every problem you face has its solution within you. The mind that created the challenge also holds the answer. When you still the noise of fear and doubt, inspiration rises from within. The divine intelligence within you knows the path perfectly. To activate your mind is to tune into that inner guidance system that never fails. It speaks not in words but in intuition, in quiet nudges, in sudden clarity. You know it by its peace. The voice of fear shouts, the voice of intuition whispers. When you begin to trust that whisper, you align yourself with the flow of life. Everything you need for your manifestation is already known by that deeper part of you. Your task is to remain receptive, not resistant. You cannot activate your mind fully while holding on to resentment or unforgiveness. Those emotions bind your consciousness to the past and drain the energy of creation. To manifest freely, you must release the past with love. Forgiveness is not approval of what happened, it is freedom from it. The moment you release others from blame, you release yourself from bondage. You create space for new blessings to enter. The universe cannot fill a heart that is already crowded with old pain. Empty yourself of bitterness and abundance will pour in. This is not just moral advice, it is metaphysical law. Love is the highest frequency of creation. When you live in love, you live in alignment with divine imagination. An activated mind never complains because it knows that every experience, pleasant or painful, is feedback from consciousness. It asks, what belief produced this? Rather than, why did this happen to me? That simple shift transforms you from a victim into a creator. You begin to see every challenge as an opportunity to refine your state of being. The more you master your reactions, the more authority you gain over your world. Emotion is energy, and when directed consciously, it becomes the fuel of manifestation. Instead of wasting energy on worry, channel it into vision. Feel what it would be like if everything you desired were already true. That feeling is the magnet that draws your future into the present. You do not manifest what you want, you manifest what you are conscious of being. If you say you want wealth but constantly think from lack, you will continue to experience lack. You must become wealthy in feeling long before you see it, in fact. Begin to walk, talk, and think like one who already possesses abundance. Do not fake it, embody it. Let the feeling of prosperity become natural to you. The same applies to love, health, peace, or success. Every state of being has its own vibration, and when you match it inwardly, the outer must reflect it. This is not philosophy, it is law. As within, so without. If you wish to manifest healing, imagine the joy of perfect health. Feel the vitality flowing through your body. See yourself doing the things you could not do before. Do not think of healing as something coming to you in the future. Assume that it has already taken place. When you feel the relief, gratitude, and freedom of being healed, the body responds accordingly. It begins to rearrange itself in harmony with your assumption. The subconscious controls all functions of the body, and it obeys the belief impressed upon it by feeling. When you persist in that state, health becomes inevitable. The body is but the instrument of mind. It must reflect the consciousness that directs it. The same principle applies to relationships. If you desire love, do not look for it outside yourself, awaken it within. Become the embodiment of love. Feel nourished and valued even before anyone expresses it toward you. When you dwell in that state, others cannot help but reflect it. You attract people who mirror your new vibration. The outer relationship is only the shadow of your inner union. When you love yourself unconditionally, you draw to yourself experiences that confirm that love. To demand love from others while feeling unworthy is to block the very thing you seek. To assume love inwardly is to magnetize it outwardly. If you desire success or wealth, see yourself already successful. Not as a distant dream, but as your current reality. Feel the satisfaction of achievement, the stability of abundance, the generosity that flows naturally from it. Think as one who has already arrived. Success does not come to you, it comes from you. The state of consciousness called success must first be felt before it can be seen. If you try to manifest from a sense of lack, you only multiply lack. But if you create from the feeling of abundance, everything aligns with that energy. You become a living magnet for opportunity, resources, and divine favor. You must also learn the art of detachment, not detachment from desire, but detachment from doubt. Detachment is trust. It means you no longer watch the clock or question how things will unfold. You release the need to control outcomes and rest in the knowing that your assumption is already accomplished. The seed does not grow faster because you dig it up every day to check it. You must let it take root in silence. Detachment is the peace that comes from faith. It is the confidence that the unseen is more real than the seen. When you master this, manifestations begin to appear almost effortlessly because you are no longer working against your own belief. Every morning, before the noise of the world begins, enter the silence of imagination. Close your eyes and see your life as you wish it to be. Feel it so vividly that it becomes real to you. Do not visualize as though you are watching a movie, visualize as though you are living it now. The more real it feels, the more powerfully it imprints on your subconscious. At night, before you sleep, do the same. The moment between wakefulness and sleep is the gateway to creation. Whatever feeling you carry into sleep will harden into fact. Use that sacred moment to assume the most beautiful state you can imagine. Fall asleep as the person you wish to be, and you will awaken in a world that reflects it. The mind is your kingdom, and imagination is your throne. When you sit upon it consciously, the outer world becomes your servant. You will begin to see how effortlessly life responds when you are in alignment. Doors that were once closed will open, people will appear at the right time, and synchronicities will multiply. You will feel guided, protected, and supported by an unseen hand. This is not fantasy, it is divine law in motion. The world is mental, and thought is the substance of all reality. The moment you master thought, you master everything. Keep your mind pure, your heart steady, and your faith unshakable. Know that whatever you can imagine, you can manifest, not by effort, but by assumption. The power to create worlds is already within you. Activate it by believing that your imagination is reality, and watch as the unseen becomes seen, as your inner world gives birth to your outer experience. You must come to see that everything begins with a single decision. The decision to believe in the unseen more than the visible, to trust imagination more than circumstance. This decision marks the awakening of creative consciousness. The moment you decide to accept this truth, your entire world begins to reorganize itself around your new awareness. Life mirrors your inner conviction. Every circumstance that appears after that decision serves to strengthen and solidify your belief. When you refuse to react to appearances and instead persist in your inner knowing, you demonstrate mastery over the illusion of time and space. You begin to understand that the invisible world within is the only true reality and that everything else is its echo. The unawakened mind looks outward for evidence, always needing proof before belief. The activated mind knows that belief itself is the cause, and proof is the effect. You no longer wait to see in order to believe, you believe in order to see. The outer world is slow to change only because you have not yet fully accepted that it must. But once your assumption becomes natural, once it feels real, the transformation happens swiftly and often in ways that defy logic. You might meet someone unexpectedly, stumble upon an opportunity, or find yourself guided to a place or idea that completes the puzzle. These are not coincidences, they are the natural outworking of consciousness aligning with its new pattern. To live this way, you must train your attention. Attention is the currency of creation. Where your attention goes, energy flows and reality grows. If you constantly give attention to lack, failure, or fear, you will strengthen those states. If you hold your attention on peace, success, and fulfillment, those will expand. Your mind is like a lens that magnifies whatever you focus on. The more you observe a thing, the more life you give it. This is why worry is so destructive. It is faith in the wrong direction. Every anxious thought is a seed that will bear fruit unless it is uprooted and replaced with its opposite. You cannot serve two masters, belief in limitation and belief in abundance. Choose one and let your whole being serve it completely. When you begin to live from this truth, your words become creative decrees. Speech is imagination vocalized. Every word carries vibration, and that vibration moves through the unseen to shape the seen. Speak only that which you wish to experience. Do not speak of illness, lack, or defeat as though they are permanent. Speak health, speak prosperity, speak victory until the vibration of those words fills your consciousness so fully that doubt has no room to breathe. The universe echoes your tone. When you say, I am, you are pronouncing creation itself, for those two words are the name of your being. Whatever follows them becomes your reality. If you say, I am tired, the body obeys. If you say, I am strong, the cells respond. The law does not discriminate, it fulfills whatever is impressed upon it. You may find that the mind resists this practice at first. The old self, the personality built from past memories and repeated habits, will try to reassert its authority. It will whisper doubts, it will point to evidence, it will tempt you to return to the familiar misery of limitation. But you must persist. The old mind has no real power except what you continue to give it. Its strength lies in your attention. Withdraw attention from the old state, and it withers away. Persist in the new assumption until it becomes second nature. Persistence is the secret ingredient that separates the dreamers from the manifestors. The world bends to the will of the one who refuses to let go of their vision. There will come moments when nothing seems to move, when you feel as though you are trapped between the old and the new. That is the crucial point, the moment of transformation hidden in stillness. Do not despair when progress seems invisible. The seed is germinating beneath the soil where no one can see it. The silence before manifestation is sacred. It is the breath before creation speaks. When all seems still, rejoice, for that stillness is proof that something is taking root. Trust the unseen process. The longer you can hold faith in that invisible gestation, the more magnificent your manifestation will be. When you look at the world through the eyes of an activated mind, you begin to see beyond appearances. You recognize that every difficulty is an opportunity to express greater mastery. The outer events are merely reflections of your inner beliefs, and when you change your belief, the reflection must change. Even what seems to be opposition or failure is often divine correction, life guiding you toward a higher assumption. The mind that is awake does not complain about closed doors. It assumes that better ones are already open. You see that nothing is against you, because all things are working together for your good when you align with your inner truth. To activate your mind to manifest anything, you must also master your inner emotions. Emotion is energy in motion. It is the power that animates your mental images. Without emotion, imagination is a faint picture. With emotion, it becomes alive and magnetic. Feelings are the creative bridge between thought and manifestation. Whatever you feel deeply and consistently becomes fact. Therefore, choose your emotions wisely. When you feel joy, gratitude, or love deliberately, you are aligning with the highest frequency of creation. Those emotions dissolve resistance and attract harmony effortlessly. Begin each day by generating gratitude, not for what you see, but for what you have claimed in the unseen. Gratitude before the evidence appears is the mark of the awakened creator. You can activate this power anywhere, anytime. Close your eyes, take a breath, and step into the version of yourself that already possesses your desire. See through their eyes, think their thoughts, feel their emotions. Move as though it were already true. Let this version of you become more familiar than the old one. The mind cannot hold two identities at once. Whichever is most real to you will dominate. If you persist in the new identity long enough, it must externalize. Life will begin to conform to the vibration of your assumed self. People will treat you differently, opportunities will appear, and situations will rearrange themselves to match your new state. You will seem to others like one who walks with divine favor, but you will know it is simply the natural outworking of your assumption. This is why imagination is not mere fantasy. It is spiritual law in operation. You are not pretending when you imagine, you are creating. Pretending implies make-believe, but imagination is belief-making. When you enter a state in imagination, you are not daydreaming. You are touching the substance of reality before it becomes visible. All things exist now in the unseen realm of possibility. By assuming the feeling of your desire fulfilled, you select that particular reality and make it your own. The unseen is infinite. Imagination is your means of choosing which part of infinity you will experience. The mind that is fully activated knows this and therefore chooses deliberately, not randomly. It no longer asks, can this happen? It declares, it has happened. When you practice this consistently, you begin to notice subtle changes in yourself. You respond differently to challenges. You no longer react with fear, but with calm knowing. Situations that once disturbed you lose their power. You feel an inner stillness that cannot be shaken by outer events. That stillness is the hallmark of mastery. It means you have shifted from reacting to creating, from seeking to being. This is the true activation, not a momentary high, but a permanent awareness that you are the operant power of your world. Once this realization settles in your consciousness, you become unstoppable, because you understand that the only limitations that exist are those you entertain. You must also learn the sacred art of imagination in motion, living from your vision in every action you take. Do not limit this practice to meditation or visualization. Carry it into every part of your day. When you walk, walk as one who already has their dream fulfilled. When you speak, speak as that person. When you face a challenge, face it from the consciousness of success, not from fear. Every act becomes a prayer when it is done from awareness. The way you stir your coffee, the way you drive your car, the way you greet others, let it all flow from the state of fulfillment. This is how the inner becomes the outer effortlessly. You are no longer waiting for manifestation. You are embodying it now. It is also important to remember that imagination never fails. Only doubt interferes. If something you desire has not yet appeared, it is not because the law is broken, but because you have not fully accepted its reality. Examine your inner state honestly. Are you believing in the unseen, or are you secretly checking for evidence every few moments? Are you standing firm in faith, or are you alternating between hope and fear? The mind cannot serve two masters. Choose one reality and live there fully. Refuse to be double-minded. The moment you commit completely, the manifestation begins to crystallize. The universe loves decisiveness. Hesitation dissolves power. You may ask, how do I know if I have truly assumed the feeling of the wish fulfilled? You will know by your peace. When you are at rest inwardly, when the desire no longer feels like something you must attain, but something you already are, then the assumption is complete. You no longer yearn, you simply know. That knowing is magnetic. It draws the visible form inevitably. The proof of manifestation is not excitement or struggle, but calm assurance. The one who knows never begs, never doubts, never chases. They walk as if it were done, because in consciousness it already is. Do not be deceived by appearances. Even if circumstances seem to move in the opposite direction, hold fast to your vision. Often the appearance of contradiction is the final step before manifestation. It is the world reshuffling itself to accommodate your new state. Many give up at that moment, thinking the law has failed, when in truth it is working perfectly. When everything looks as though it's falling apart, rejoice. It means the old state is dying, making room for the new. Stand still and know that your assumption cannot fail. The unseen is always rearranging itself in your favor when your inner conviction is steadfast. As you grow in this awareness, your desires themselves begin to change. You realize that true manifestation is not about accumulation of things, but about the expansion of being. You no longer seek to prove your power, you live from it quietly. You desire only that which expresses your highest self. You begin to align your will with divine purpose. The more you surrender to this inner guidance, the more harmonious your manifestations become. They arrive not just to please the ego, but to uplift the soul and bless others. You discover that what you manifest through love multiplies effortlessly, while what you try to manifest through fear crumbles. Love is the creative principle behind all things. To imagine in love is to create in harmony with the source of life itself. Every time you activate your mind to manifest, remember that you are communing with the divine within you. Creation is not something you do, it is something you allow. The power is not external, it flows through you. When you release resistance, when you stop trying to make things happen, and instead allow them to unfold through faith, the results often surpass your imagination. Life becomes miraculous, yet natural. You begin to live in a rhythm where thought, feeling, and event flow together seamlessly. There is no longer separation between the spiritual and the physical. They become one continuous expression of consciousness. Your mind is the womb of the universe. Every idea conceived there is destined for birth if nurtured by faith. Guard it as sacred. Do not allow negative opinions, fears, or doubts from others to enter. People who live by appearances will always try to convince you that imagination is foolishness. They speak from the limitation of their own perception, not from truth. You must learn to move silently in faith, doing your inner work without seeking validation. Let your results speak for you. The world may doubt you at first, but once the manifestation appears, even the skeptic becomes a witness to the unseen law in action. When your desire manifests, do not boast or cling to it. Simply give thanks and move higher in consciousness. There is always another level, another dimension of creation waiting to be explored. The purpose of manifestation is to reveal to you who you truly are, the imaginal being, the divine consciousness clothed in human form. The more you practice, the more you realize that there are no limits to what can be created. Health, love, abundance, wisdom, peace, all are natural expressions of your being. You do not earn them, you awaken to them. They are the natural inheritance of one who remembers their creative origin. And so you walk through life differently now, aware, deliberate, calm, and filled with wonder. You no longer beg the universe for blessings. You bless the universe with your awareness. You no longer seek signs, you become the sign. You no longer fear the future, for you know that it is already shaped by the assumptions you hold today. The mind, once activated, cannot return to sleep. It knows that imagination is the foundation of all existence, and that by directing thought and feeling, you can manifest anything your heart can conceive. When you begin to understand the creative law of consciousness, you realize that there is nothing accidental about your life. Every encounter, every delay, every breakthrough, every silence has been summoned by your own inner vibration. The activated mind sees patterns where the sleeping mind sees confusion. What the unaware call coincidence, the awakened call divine alignment. You attract what you are, not what you wish for. Wishing is passive, but assuming is power in motion. The difference between the two is faith. The moment you stop wishing and start knowing, the universe rearranges itself to reflect that knowing. Faith is not blind, it is visionary. It sees beyond appearances and calls the unseen into existence. You must also understand that imagination is a sacred responsibility. Whatever picture you hold in mind is an act of creation, whether you realize it or not. Each thought leaves its imprint in the invisible fabric of reality. When you dwell on worry, you are building a world of worry. When you dwell on peace, you are building a world of peace. You are not a passive observer of the world. You are the life behind it. The mind is like a projector, and the world is its screen. What you see outside cannot change until the image within changes first. You cannot curse the screen for showing what the film contains. You must replace the film. That film is your assumption, and the projector is your imagination. Most people look for change in the world of effects, trying to push and pull circumstances by force. But that is like rearranging shadows. The wise go straight to the cause, the inner picture. Change your inner image, and the outer reflection must obey. This is why inner discipline is greater than outer action. The one who has control over imagination wields a power far greater than armies, because all things move according to the imaginal state. When your inner vision is stable, you will find that even the most chaotic circumstances begin to bend toward harmony. The outer world has no choice but to yield to the order you hold within. To activate your mind is to become a deliberate dreamer, awake within the dream of life. You are dreaming this world into existence every moment. Most dream unconsciously, reacting to yesterday's memories, but you can awaken and dream consciously. You can choose the tone of your days, the rhythm of your emotions, the atmosphere of your world. You do this by deciding who you are. Every identity is a vibration, and every vibration manifests its own circumstances. The question is never, what do I want? But who am I being? When you embody the answer, the world must mirror it. If you are seeking abundance, ask yourself, who would I be if I were already wealthy? And then begin to live from that state of being. How would you think? How would you carry yourself? What emotions would dominate your heart? Feel those answers deeply and live them out now. The feeling of wealth attracts the condition of wealth. The feeling of success attracts success. You do not wait for results to feel deserving. You feel deserving to produce results. That is the reversal of cause and effect that few ever understand. The outer is not the cause, it is the echo of the inner. Many struggle with doubt because they think of imagination as unreal. But imagination is not unreal. It is the foundation of all reality. Everything that exists was once invisible. The clothes you wear, the chair you sit on, the building around you. All were once ideas in someone's mind. The world is frozen imagination, thought made visible. If you can understand that every tangible thing began as an intangible idea, then you will understand that imagination is not less real, but more real than matter. The seen depends on the unseen. When you accept this truth completely, you will begin to live as the master of form, not its servant. The power that shapes worlds does not reside in the noise of outer action, but in the stillness of inner conviction. Be still and know that your assumption is true. That stillness is not emptiness, it is potency. It is the silent energy from which all creation flows. When you quiet the mind, you can hear the whisper of the infinite directing your steps. Intuition is the voice of the unseen guiding the seen. When you trust that voice, you move through life effortlessly, because you are no longer resisting the current of creation. You have merged with it. You are no longer asking, when will it come? Because you understand that it already is. Do not concern yourself with how your manifestation will happen. The how belongs to the unseen intelligence that governs the universe. Your role is only to declare the end and assume its feeling as now. The unseen will find its own means. You may think it must happen through a certain person or event, but that is only your limited reasoning. The creative power knows infinite ways to fulfill your assumption. The moment you assume it done, the law begins to weave circumstances together in perfect order. It may take a day, a week, or a season, but it will come with mathematical certainty. When you trust the unseen, you rest. When you doubt, you delay. You must also remember that imagination obeys love. Love is the very essence of creation. The more you create from love, the faster and smoother your manifestations appear. Love is not merely an emotion, it is alignment with divine flow. When you act from love, you are moving in harmony with the creative principle of the universe. Every thought of fear, resentment, or jealousy slows the flow, because those emotions separate you from the awareness of oneness. The moment you forgive, the energy unblocks, and your good begins to flow again. Love is the key that unlocks all doors because it dissolves the illusion of separation. The awakened mind does not try to change people, but changes the concept of people. You cannot force another to act differently, but you can imagine them differently. See them as kind, loving, and helpful, and they will respond in that image. This is the silent art of creation. When you imagine lovingly for others, you are not manipulating them. You are recognizing their higher self and calling it forth. The love you give in imagination returns multiplied. For what you imagine for another, you are also imagining for yourself. The same law that works for personal manifestation works universally. It knows no boundaries between self and other because all are one in consciousness. When your mind is activated, you live as though every word and thought matters, because it does. You no longer indulge in idle negativity, gossip, or self-pity, for you know that every vibration is creative. You begin to walk in quiet awareness, observing your inner dialogue as the sculptor observes his work. You mold each thought with care, not through fear, but through understanding. This awareness brings freedom. You no longer fear the world because you know it is your own reflection. You stop trying to control others and begin to master yourself. This mastery is peace, and peace is power. There will be times when the old reality still echoes back. People may still speak to the version of you that no longer exists, and conditions may still carry remnants of your past assumptions. Do not be disturbed by this. The old state is dying, and all dying things make noise. Stand firm in your new identity. Respond from it. Do not revert to the old just to satisfy appearances. Every moment you persist, the old reality loses more of its strength until it fades completely. One day you will realize that the world has shifted entirely, and it will feel so natural that you may even forget the effort it once took to believe. That is the beauty of manifestation. It becomes ordinary once it arrives because it was already natural in imagination. You may sometimes wonder why the results of your inner work seem delayed, but know that every assumption has its appointed hour. The unseen must gestate before it is born. Trust the rhythm of divine timing. What you assume today may need preparation in the unseen, new people, new situations, new alignments, before it appears. Do not confuse delay with denial. The law never denies, it only fulfills at the perfect moment. When impatience arises, return to feeling. Feel it real now and rest in that satisfaction. The more you enjoy the state, the faster it takes form, for joy is the natural language of manifestation. To live this truth is to live in constant communion with your imagination. Every moment becomes an act of creation. When you walk, you imagine the road ahead smooth and safe. When you work, you imagine success and ease. When you meet others, you imagine harmony and goodwill. When you rest, you imagine peace and abundance. Life becomes a continuous prayer, not of words, but of awareness. You live in thanksgiving, for you know that everything you desire is already given in consciousness. Gratitude becomes your natural vibration, and gratitude magnetizes more reasons to give thanks. The mind you activate does not depend on outer motivation because it is self-sustaining. Its energy flows from within. It finds joy not in results but in creation itself. It no longer fears failure because it knows that every state can be revised. Revision is the power to rewrite the past. Whatever unpleasant experience you may have had, you can return to it in imagination and change its meaning. Imagine it ending beautifully, with love, peace, and understanding. Feel that new outcome as real and your subconscious will accept it. The outer world will then adjust to reflect the revision. Even relationships, finances, and health can be restored through this power. Because the past is not fixed, it is alive in consciousness. Once you understand revision, you are truly free. You realize that no mistake is permanent, no loss is final. You can go back, correct the seed, and watch a new harvest grow. This is the mercy of imagination. It redeems time itself. You are never at the mercy of what was. You are only governed by what is now believed. Each new belief overwrites the old, just as light erases darkness without it. You do not need to fight the dark, you only need to bring light. The light is awareness, and awareness is imagination focused on truth. You will also come to understand that your desires are not random. They are the language through which the divine communicates its intention. The moment a desire is born in you, the way to fulfill it is also born. Desire is the evidence of your potential. It is not meant to torment you, but to awaken you. If you feel the longing to achieve, to love, to expand, it is because that reality already exists for you in the unseen. You would not desire it if you were not meant to experience it. The desire and its fulfillment are one. Two sides of the same reality. When you assume the feeling of its fulfillment, you bridge the two and bring the invisible into visibility. Remember, too, that the law works with absolute precision. It does not punish or reward, it reflects. You are not judged by a distant power, but by the vibration you hold. When you feel guilty, life reflects guilt. When you feel worthy, life reflects abundance. Change the inner climate, and the outer seasons shift accordingly. You do not need to fix the world, you only need to fix your vision. When your inner vision becomes clear, even chaos begins to serve your good. The winds that once threatened to destroy your boat now carry it forward. The storm is not your enemy, it is your servant once you command it from calm authority. So each day, take time to enter the silence. Close your eyes and feel yourself into the life you desire. Let your senses become alive in that invisible world. Hear the sounds, feel the textures, taste the joy of fulfillment. Let it be so real that you forget it is imagination. Then open your eyes and carry that feeling into your day. Walk through the world as one who already possesses the promise. The outer will eventually bend to your inner conviction because the unseen is always the cause of the seen. The law cannot fail, it only awaits your belief. In time, this practice becomes effortless. You no longer separate imagination from reality, they blend as one. You no longer wait for miracles, your life becomes one. You no longer pray for manifestation, you live as manifestation. Every breath becomes an act of creation, every thought a brushstroke on the canvas of existence. You become a living expression of divine imagination. The Word made flesh, consciousness taking form, the invisible becoming visible through you. And in that awareness, you find that you truly can manifest anything, for you have become one with the source that creates all things.